Hello everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live. So happy you're here. Hope everyone can hear. I forgot to put my AirPods in, so sorry about that. So let's refresh and see who we've got on. All right, here we are. All right, go ahead and when you jump on, say hello. If you're new to my channel, let me know where you're watching from. And we'll just wait a minute or two and see who gets on, who can join us tonight. Just want to give a quick shout out to my friend Tracy Grower, who became a first-time grandma today. Congratulations, and congratulations to the new parents, Stephen and Mackenzie. All right. Well, tonight we are going to be using the Flowers of Friendship stamp set and the Coordinating Flowers and Leaves punch. These are in the annual catalog, and the stamp set is on page 73. You will find the punch, the flowers and leaves, on page 153 of the annual catalog. Okay, so we will move those out of the way. In addition, we're going to be using the Design a Daydream Host paper, and that you can get with a workshop of at least $150, or if you place an order of at least $150, then you can spend your Stampin' Rewards dollars, which is 10% when your order or workshop is at least $150. You can use your Stampin' Rewards. This host pack is $18, but if you have $15 in Stampin' Rewards, you can spend your Stampin' Rewards and then pay the $3 additional out of your own pocket. All right, so we're going to be using this today. It is a pack of 48 sheets of paper. You get for each of those 12 designs, and those 12 designs are double-sided. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to be stamping and punching some flowers. So I'm going to punch, I don't think this one's wide. Oh, it is wide enough. Maybe if I'm very strategic, can get that one in there. Not quite. All right. Well, let's put this one in here, and we're going to punch one of these, and we're going to punch one of these larger flowers up here. Now, I've already done several of these, so I'm just going to show you how I did them to save us some time. Hello, Tracy. Congratulations on your new granddaughter. Hello, Cynthia. Thank you for joining. All right, so ahead of time, I took a piece of basic white cardstock and I punched my punch on this cardstock to make a template, and I'm setting that in the corner of my my Stamparatus. And then I'm going to grab my ink pads. We're going to start with the larger flower simply because I have it in place ready to go. And I'm going to take and put my larger die cut right here in this template, like so. And then I'm going to take my Blackberry Bliss, which I am using for another project, and I had it set aside for the second one. So I'm going to take my Blackberry Bliss, and I'm going to stamp that down. Okay, so I've got that one, and then I need to do my smaller one. And one of the really nice things about the Stamparatus is I can just take this plate at a 90-degree angle, pull it off, place it back in at the 90-degree angle, and now I'm ready to go with my second stamp. Okay. And actually, I think I might have needed these in petal pink. Let's see. I thought I had this together, but for some reason, I did make this card on Thursday, and I've kind of, you know, I had a plan for this. And let's see if I've gone outside of my plan. Okay. I've got that awfully wet. Let's go ahead and dry that up. Okay. So now what I'm going to do with these two, and I got them wet with my fingers. I'm going to take my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to use it like a little paintbrush, and I'm just going to color these in. Just to give it a little bit of color. I'm going to do the same, and all I'm doing is pulling the ink that I stamped off with my Wink of Stella, which does two things. It gives me a little bit of color, and it gives me a lot of glitter. Okay, so let's go ahead and set those aside to dry. And let's grab out our cardstock. So we're going to be using a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and this piece is cut 4 1/4 by 11. I've already scored that in half at 5 1/2. I've got a piece of the Design a Daydream host paper, and this piece is 2 1/4 by 6. This is for the flap of our envelope. Here's actually what I was supposed to be stamping and punching on. The petal pink. And I've got a piece of the Design a Daydream paper that is this pattern, and it is cut at 3 inches by 4 inches. Now, we're going to trim this piece down, and we're going to grab a ruler. And I'm going to grab my stylus tool for my Simply Scored. And with the 4-inch piece across the top, I'm going to put my ruler up here, and I'm going to make a mark at 1 1/4 on the left side. And on the right side, I'm going to make a mark at 2 1/4 right here. Okay, now you could use a pencil, and I probably should so you can see. Well, let me do that again just so you can see what I'm doing, because you can't see with the... Okay, so on the left side again, we're going to mark at 1 1/4. And on the right side, we're going to mark at 2 1/4. Okay, so 1 1/4 and 2 1/4. I hope you can see that. And then I'm going to bring in my trimmer, my Stampin' trimmer, and I'm going to put that one mark at the top. I'm going to put the second mark at the bottom, and I am going to cut. Okay. Now, if you have a mark left, you can go ahead and erase that, which is why you can also use your stylus tool, and then you don't really need to worry about it. So now we have 2 pieces that are cut at angles. We're going to use one for this card, and we're going to use the other one for a second card. Okay? So we're going to use the larger piece for this card. And we're going to take a piece of basic white, and I'm going to put this piece right up here. I'm going to go ahead and put that on. This is a piece of basic white, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to butt that up against the edges of my cardstock here. I'm going to slide that a little bit with my liquid glue. All right. So now we've got this. Now we're going to take the largest flower from that set, and I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper here. And we're going to ink this up in Memento Basic Black, because we're going to color these. And I'm going to put this over on the right, where it's a little bit shorter here. And I'm just going to put that down. This is going to be a pretty simple card. Okay, so we've got that, and now we're going to grab our sentiment, and we're going to stamp this in the Blackberry Bliss. And our sentiment is also from the Flowers of Friendship, and it says big or little card, big thanks. Now let's make sure I've got this on my block how I think I do. All right, line that up so it's straight, and I'm going to put that down right there. Okay. Now, move this back out. I'm going to take a block, and I'm going to get a little bit of the Blackberry Bliss ink on my block. Okay. And then I'm going to take my Wink of Stella, And I'm just going to, I'm going to turn this upside down. So I want to start at the base of the large flower and I want to work my way up. And this is regular basic white cardstock. And it will do well as long as you don't continually go over the paper. So we're just going to color this in using the Wink of Stella. All right, so that's that. Then we're just going to clean that off. And we're going to set that aside for a minute. I'm going to grab another block. I'm going to take some petal pink. And I'm going to ink up that block. Okay, and I'm going to take the petal pink and I'm going to repeat that process. And I'm going from the base of my flower so that my darkness is at the bottom and it lightens as it goes up. Okay, let's do this flower over here. Okay, we'll clean that off. And then we're going to get a third block, close out my petal pink, get the old olive. Okay. And get some old olive ink, and I don't want this to be super dark, so I'm going to wipe it off a little bit. And then I'm going to color my leaves in. And I'm going to have some darker and some lighter. You can see I have not grabbed any additional ink yet. I'm going to grab just a little bit more. And there is my image. Okay, we've got that all colored. Just going to wipe that off till it runs clean. Set those blocks aside. Okay. And then we're going to set this aside. We're going to take some ribbon. And haven't quite decided what I'm going to use for my ribbon yet. Might use this one, but I need to clean this one up a bit. See how this looks. This is the cotton ribbon combo in petal pink. It's in the January to June mini catalog, which is still current, although we will be getting a retiring list tomorrow. So the last chance list will be out tomorrow, and we'll be posting that. I would assume that this ribbon will be on that because its combo is Misty Moonlight, and of course that is a retired in color. So we're just going to tie this up just to accentuate the break between the designer series paper and our other cardstock. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and we'll clip that off. Let's It's not gonna, I twisted my, hang on. I twisted my ribbon a bit, I think. And now it doesn't want to lay down. Let's try that. There we go. Let's try that. And we'll do this again, and then it will lay down like it's supposed to. There we are. Much better that time. Okay, there we go. Now we've got it so it's not twisted. And I'm just holding in the middle to keep that tight. And then I pull it. All right, and then I'll trim up those ends again. And this piece is ready for our card. And I'm going to move this ribbon down just a titch. So I'm going to bend it up, rotate it where I want it, and then I'll slide it back down. Okay, this is ready for our card base. Hello, Laura. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing. Who said, hello, I'm afraid I'm a little late. Oh, hi, Sharon. Appreciate you all joining me. Oh, man. I feel like I'm all thumbs today. A little discombobulated. Okay, so then we're just going to add this to our Blackberry Bliss here. And I'm going to do that with some Stampin' Seal. I'm going to go right on either side of that ribbon. Hold that down a bit. All right, so there we go. There is our first card. Let me see if I can move this up. My ribbon slipped down. Not quite where I would like it. There we go. Just take my tweezers and okay, so there's card number 1 with that half a piece of the paper. Slide that to the side. Now, for the, I think I mixed these up, you guys. I have 2 cards and I think I mixed them up. But it's okay. So here is the inside of our card for that one, and all I've done is taken the floral stamp here. It's a single stamp, and I stamped it at the top and the bottom, and then stamped in Pear Pizzazz, life is better with friends like you. Okay, so we're going to slip this inside our card. Truth of the matter is, I didn't actually make these 2 cards because I made 2 other cards in our color challenge colors that I put out for the month for the local scrapbook paper crafting group, and I didn't want to give that away here because I wanted to save it for our meeting in June. Okay, so there's our front and there's our back. And then here is our matching envelope. Okay, so we've got that. All right. Now let's move on to the second card that we're going to make with this other smaller piece of cardstock or designer series paper that we cut. For this one, our card base is petal pink, but I don't think I'm going with petal pink. Let me change my mind because I don't think I'm going to like, well, let's just go with it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It might look fine. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and score this card base. And again, this is 4 1/4 by 11. And this card design was actually a mystery stamping challenge that I did with the kitchen table stamper. So I'm going to take this, and I've got a piece of the basic white as my layer. That's 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to take that second slip of the designer series paper. Now, if you had a directional pattern, you would have to do one up and you would have to do one at the bottom if you have a directional piece in order to make them work, okay? Or flip over your designer to the back side. But we don't need to do that because we're not using a directional pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my card layer. And for those of you who missed it, this was a 3 by 4 inch piece of designer series paper that I marked along the top with the 4-inch side this way. I marked on the right side at 1 1/4, and I marked on the left side at 2 1/4, and then I put those 2 marks in my trimmer and trimmed them and got these 2 pieces. Okay, so just so you'll know, it was like this. I marked it at the 1 1/4, marked it at the 2 1/4, put it in my trimmer with my 2 marks, and sliced it down. Okay, and that's how I got those pieces. So now, with this one is the one that we're actually going to need the Stamparatus. And I'm going to take the petal pink, because that's really what I wanted in the first place. I'll grab that Stamparatus again. And I'm going to punch out 1 large flower. Okay, whoa, that moved on me. And 1 small flower. And like I said, I already have them done, so I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. Saving some time. And what did I do with my template? There it is. All right. So I'm going to put the smaller of the 2 in here. Make sure I don't have any wetness. Okay, I'm just going to slip that right in there. Get my Blackberry Bliss ink. Ink that up. Then I'm going to take my large flower and I'm going to pop that in there. Remember, a 90-degree angle, pull that up, flip it around, 90-degree angle, set it back down, and then I'm ready to go. Okay, and that's how I made my flowers. All right, let me clean that off again. It appears I left my chamois a little bit on the wet side. So I'm going to try to be a little bit gentle with that. All right. Okay. So we can set this aside for just a minute. We're going to need it again on our next project because we actually have 3 projects tonight. And again, we're going to take the Wink Estella pen and I'm just going to pull that ink. Okay. Pulling my ink. And then I'm just going to wipe this on a piece of scrap paper till it runs clean, and I'm good to go. All right. Now I'm going to take my bone folder, and with this smaller one, I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to curl my petals up. And with my larger flower, I'm going to curl my petals down. Then I'm going to take my take your pick tool, and I'm going to use the tacky end with the cover, and I'm going to put that right in the center of my flower and give it a push. And I'm going to do the same with the little one. And then I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue, and I'm just going to stick it right in the center of that larger flower. And then I'm going to angle these so that the petals alternate. And I'm just going to set that down in the center there. And again, I'm going to take my take your pick tool, and I'm going to give that a good press. All right, and there's my flowers for my card. Okay, and you're going to need 3 of those. Now, in addition to that, I should have a scrap of the, and I don't. Okay, let me grab a scrap of the post paper here. All right here. Okay, so with this little scrap, what I want to do is I want to do some leaves. Okay, so I'm going to take my little leaf, and I'm going to take, or this is actually the larger leaf, then I'm going to take the littler leaf. And I'm going to look at my punch, which is like this. Okay, and I'm just going to use this little tiny piece. So this is actually, this one's going to go like this. So, and I'm going to stick it in my punch this side. So I'm going to start stamping over here. And I'm going to get my old olive. This was the easiest way to do this. And I'm just going to stamp some leaves. Okay. And then I'm going to take my trimmer, and I don't need a bunch of these, so I'm not doing a bunch. And I'm going to just slice that off. Now I already know how big I need it, and I'm good to go. Okay. Now, on the other end of this piece, I'm going to take the larger leaf. And again, I'm going to look at my punch, and this is how I want to stamp. So I'm going to stamp once, stamp twice, okay. And then I can punch these simply by setting them in my punch, like so. And then I'll have my leaves. Okay, and to get my bigger ones, I'm just going to put this in. Actually, I got to go this way because I messed it up. Okay, so I'm just going to set that in there. Because your paper's so small, it doesn't matter really on this one because you can just put it in and do it up. Okay, And that's how you're going to get your leaves. Just do your strip like that. All right. But I have already done that for us. So we've got our leaves here. And we've got our flowers here. And I actually have quite a few flowers. And then we need our piece here. And we're going to go ahead and stamp our greeting first. And I'm going to use that little card, Big Thanks again, I think. Yep. Little card, Big Thanks. I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss again. And I'm going to stamp this. Oh, right here like so. And then I'm going to arrange my flowers around my sentiment here, like this. Okay, I think we're going to use a different ribbon this time. So we're going to set these aside, and I'm going to go ahead and color my ribbon now. Okay. And I'm going to use the crinkled seam binding ribbon. I'm going to figure out about how much I need. Okay, that looks about good. And then we don't have any Blackberry Bliss ribbon, but we do have a Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Blend. So I am going to make Blackberry Bliss ribbon out of my white crinkled seam binding ribbon. Okay, so I'm just going to take this down, pull it, and the really nice thing about this white seam binding ribbon is you color one side and it goes all the way through, so you don't have to worry about a single-sided ribbon or coloring both sides. Okay? So we'll give that just a second to dry. And you'll know when it's dry, because, and it dries super fast on this, but it gets a little bit stiffer. So I just take my bone folder and soften it back up. Then I'm going to take this and we're going to do like we did before. We're just going to tie a bow along this edge. I'll hold my finger there. Get a loop, put my finger down, swoop, push my end through, and pull that, and I will have a perfect bow with my bows up and my tails down. And then I'm just going to hold on to that center, give that a little pull, and there we are. Now we're good. Trim those up. I want that one to have a little bit more of an angle on it. There we go. All right. Now we can add our flowers to our project here. And I'm going to do it kind of like that. So I'm going to take a glue dot. I'm going to pick up my flower and put my glue dot in the center as best I can. And then I'm going to put that back down. Grab another glue dot and flower. Set that up here like so. Repeat that one more time. Oh, thanks you guys. I'm glad you liked that card. Okay, I want to put this one down at a little bit more of an angle here. Okay, then I'm going to take my leaves and I'm just going to set these in here. Kind of like so. And I think I'm going to put one over here on this one. We'll put a little one over here. And then we'll put another large one here. And another small one there. And I think that will be good. So let's go ahead and grab a little bit of liquid glue. Pull out the large one. Put a little bit of liquid glue on the back. I'm going to pop that back in there. Get my little one out. Put that back in. Take this large one. And got the smaller one. And then we'll grab these two. I don't like the way I stamped that one. So let's grab a different large one. Stick this in here. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot craft without my tweezers. They just make life so much easier. Okay. So there we are. Now let's fluff these back up. And then we're ready to add this to our card front. Okay. So we're going to take that card front, make sure we've got it correct. And then some seal adhesive. Remember, I'm going either side of the ribbon. Okay, now this one, I'm going to make sure before I put my ribbon down, or before I put my piece down, that I've got my ribbon where I want it. I'm going to bend that just a tiny bit to get that where I want it. I want that to stay over that seam. And then I can line that up, stick it down, and then to finish this off, we're going to take some of the new heart pearls. And again, I'm going to take that dark Blackberry Bliss and I'm going to color some white little hearts here, some of the white, the larger white hearts here, frosted. I want 3 of the larger ones. These come in frosted, clear, and or pearlized, iridescent, whatever they call that. And the nice thing about them is that no matter which one you choose, you can color them with any of your Stampin' Blends markers. Okay? And those are going to become the centers of our flowers, but I'm going to let them dry for just a second. So in the meantime, this is the inside of our card. So I've just taken the Life is Better with Friends Like You, and again, those flowers with the leaves, took a piece of that designer series paper that coordinates, and I'm just going to put this inside my card. Okay, and now we should be able to add those hearts. I'm just going to stick those in the centers of my flowers using my Take Your Pick tool. Okay, and then to ensure they stay, I'm going to take my bone folder and give them a good press with the tip. All right, so there you have card number 2. And here is the matching envelope. Okay, let me move a few of these things out of the way. I'm going to clean up just a little bit, and then I'll show you the card I came up with last night, just because I was dinking around and needed something to do. Okay, so here's this one, and here's the first one, and all with that 1 3x4" piece of designer series paper. Let me go ahead and pull those down so you can see them a little bit better. All right, I hope you liked those. That's a really easy layout. And like I said, it doesn't use very much designer series paper. Just a 3x4" piece, and then if you want to put more in the center, you can. On the inside of your card. And then just a bit for your leaves if you want to do that, or you could of course stamp them on old olive and stamp them on old olive with the old olive ink and do just like you did with your flowers. Okay, so those are all cleaned up and out of the way. Now let's go ahead and we're going to grab our Stamparatus. And I'm going to pull these off because we don't need those. Move those out of the way. And I am going to bring in a second plate because your Stamparatus comes with 2 plates. So on this plate, I've placed that, this stamp. This is what it looks like when you stamp it. Okay. Stamps all in one row, and I've placed that on here. And then I have a sentiment from the cup of tea stamp. I took the thank you for your friendship. Okay, this is in the new annual catalog. All right, so we're going to start with the red rubber from the Flowers of Friendship. Okay, now you really have to kind of think a little bit here. This card is easy, but you do have to think a little bit. Ask me how I know. Okay, so here we go. Got a few things out of the way now. We won't need the punch or anything. This is a hashtag simple stamping card, which you know I have a really difficult time with. So let's see how I do. All right. So for this card, we've got a basic white card base, and this is a standard A2 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the center at 4 1/4. So let's set this aside for just a moment, and let's go ahead and fold this up and give it a good burnish with our bone folder. Okay, so we've got that. We've got a piece of basic white that is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and this is for the inside of our card. And then we have a piece of the In Color Designer Series paper that's new in the catalog, and we're going to use this one, I think. We're not going to put this down yet because we're going to decide if we change our mind to go to the other side, which we can do. Then we've got a piece of fresh freesia that is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, and this is going to be a matte. We've got a piece of the Starry Sky, which, did I tell you this is the Starry Sky Designer Series paper? We've got a piece of Starry Sky that is 3 inches by 4 1/4. And then we have the piece we're going to stamp on. Okay, and I cut 2 just in case I messed it up. This piece is 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure. Yep, 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, this is the piece we're going to stamp on. So we're going to go ahead and put this in our doesn't look very nice. Let's get a new piece so you guys don't have to look at that ugliness. Okay, there we go. And by the way, these are our small grid papers, which fit our Stamparatus perfectly. Okay. So actually, I need to put this like this, because this is how I did it. So I need to make sure I'm in the same orientation as when I started. Okay. So this piece of paper we're going to put up here, right like so. Yep. And to ensure that this doesn't move, I'm going to put a little bit of temporary adhesive. Now, if you don't have any temporary adhesive, you could use just a tiny bit of the Stampin' Seal, and then just tap it on your pants a couple of times so it's not so sticky. And you would only want just a tiny little piece. Okay, so I've got that in there, and that looks like it should line up well. So I'm going to start with Blackberry Bliss ink. Okay. And we are going to be using our step hinge technique. Now, do I have this all in the frame for you? I want to make sure that you can see all of this. Okay. So I'm going to ink this up in the Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to make sure that's up in the corner. And I'm going to stamp that down. Okay. Then I'm going to lift this at the 90-degree angle, and I'm going to move it down 1 notch. Okay. And I'm going to ink this up. And I'm going to stamp it down. And again, I'm going to pick it up 90 degrees and move it down 1 notch. And then I'm going to stamp again, pick it up at 90-degree angle 1 more time, drop that down, so that I'm in the 4th notch now. And then I'm going to stamp that down. Okay, now I'm going to give this a quick clean, just because I don't want to make a mess. Doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't matter. I'm not using that side again. Okay. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip my plate all the way over. And I'm going to put it back up at the top, in the top hinge again. Okay. Now I've got my thank you for your friendship. I don't think I like where that's going to line up, so I'm going to pull this off. And I'm going to put my, make sure my paper's fully in the corner there. I'm going to center this in as best I can, and so it looks nice and straight. Looks about even there. I don't know if that's going to pick up. Okay, it did pick up. But this is the most important thing before you start, because this is photopolymer. I need to make sure that I put my stamp pad back in. This is for photopolymer stamps. You pull it out for the rubber stamps that we used first. So now I can make absolute sure that this is going to work, and it is. Looks like it. Let's just double check. Yep, we're good. Okay, now for this one, I am going to get Starry Sky. And I'm going to ink up my sentiment. And I'm going to press that down. Again, 90-degree angle, lift it up, move it down 1 notch. And ink that up. "90-degree angle, lift it down, move it down 1 more. Okay, and again 90 degrees and move it down 1 more. All right, now this piece is finished as far as the stamping goes. Let me give that a real quick little clean. Okay, then I'm going to pull my piece out. I'm going to set this back up here, close it up, move it out of the way. And then I'm going to take my light fresh freesia Stampin' Blend marker, and I'm going to start in the center flower at the top. Put a little color here with my marker. Then I'm going to go to the 2 outside edges. Okay, and then I'm going to come down to the next row, and I'm going to do the ones to the right and left of center. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat this row the same as the top one. So center, far right, far left, and then I'm going to go down and do just the 2 like I did on the second row, which are to the left and right of center. Okay, so that is that. Now I'm going to take my Wink of Stella pen, and I'm going to go back with the ones that I didn't color, and I'm going to very carefully try not to hit the ink on the ones that I didn't color. just to give them a little bit of sparkle, but I'm not trying to color them. All right, almost finished. Okay, and now I'm going to go back and just dot the very center of the ones that I colored. Okay, and clean off anything I have on that, and this piece is now ready for our card. Okay, so we can take that off. We'll bring back in those layers. And we're going to layer our stamped piece in the center of our 3 by 4 1/4. Okay, we're just going to layer that right on there. Okay, so center that up as best we can. Actually, give me my grid paper. Let's use our grid paper. And let's stick this here. And then we should be able to tell if we are centered or not. Okay. And if we are straight or not. Okay. It still doesn't look like I got it quite right down here on the bottom. Now I set it down very gently, so if I twist this, it should pop right back off. All right. So just like that. We're going to call that good enough. All right. Seal that down. It looks like I've got just the tiniest bit of white at the bottom here, so I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to put that in, and I am going to slice that little bit of white off just so it's even, because that will bug me. All right, so now this piece we're going to add here to this one. We're just going to center that up. And this is what they call the hashtag simple stamping. I'm allowed stamps, ink, paper, and an in color. So it's the challenge that I'm doing. And it needed to be a thank you card. So there we go. All right, now we'll decide which side of this piece we're going to use. Which one looks best? Okay, so we've got this with the plaid, and we've got the polka dots. So let me know which one you prefer, plaid or polka dots. Go ahead and comment, and I'll sit here for a minute and wait. While you do so, tell me which side you prefer. Polka dots, plaid. I'm going to refresh this to see if I get a response. Okay, does anybody have a preference? Dots. Laura says dots. Anybody else? Dots for Jennifer. Cynthia, Tracy, anybody else? Oh, hello, Robin. I didn't see you come on. You say dots too. Okay, so let's go ahead and go with the dots. All right. So I'll go ahead and put the plaid down on the base of my card here. And then we will add our focal panel. All right. And there is our finished card front. And there's our envelope. Now for the inside of this card, if you'd like, I'll go ahead and I'll show you what I did for the inside. I used, let me get this. I used the hands, which are in the Here Together. This is only available through the end of May. And it's only available, it's not in a catalog. So you'll have to find it in the online store. It's called Here Together. It comes with, you can buy it in a bundle with coordinating Here For You dies. And these say, Here For You, You Matter. Then it's got Pinky Promise that it'll cut out these hands, and it cuts out this hand, and it has a little heart. Okay, so you can get these in the online store, but only through the end of May. So I took this large hand making the hearts, and I colored that with SU 900 in the Natural Tones collection. So I think this is part of the lightest of the two. Okay. And then I stamped from that same stamp set, Every Act of Kindness Changes the World, for the inside, to go along with our Thank You for Your Friendship. Okay. So those are our projects for tonight. So we'll go ahead and I'll bring those out one more time so you can see what we've made. And then I will be back again next Tuesday night, again at 7:45, with another card tutorial. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I've put the current host code in the description of this video. So if you'd like to place an order, you can use that host code. And I will see you again next Tuesday. Thank you for joining me. Good night.